All right, everybody, we got Christian Brindle from East Senior and also my buddy on with me today, and we're going to go over some fun topics for you guys, especially what's happening with 2026 with Medicare and just systems and everything that's happening with some of the carriers. But I also wanted to bring something fun at the end, so stay tuned for that. Christian, my friend, how are you?
Dude, I am doing awesome. Appreciate you having me back on. And I'm super excited to chop it up with you. Nobody better in California than Andrew Lee. So appreciate you having me, dude. I'm excited to have an awesome conversation.
Well, you guys already know Christian Brindle's the man, seven-figure Medicare agent, also the conference itself, the group, YouTube. Man needs no introduction. So we're gonna get right into it, guys, because we're gonna talk about some things that have been happening in the industry that Christian has pretty good insight on. And I wanted to bring him on just because we're gonna go over it, right? So Christian, for 2026, man, how is everything going so far in terms of, um, ESI and sort of what you're building, some of the systems and some of the cool stuff that you have going on for 2026.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you asking. I mean, we've hit 2026, really hit the ground running so far this year. There's a lot of really great things going on, I think, on our side of things, Um, and I kind of feel like on all sides of things, the business is doing great. Our agency is really off to a boom, in terms of production, both internally and externally. Lead Heroes is on fire, Hire Heroes is on
Yep.
fire, our
Yep.
CRM is on fire. So, things are moving really quickly for us. I feel like 2026 is going to be a really, really strong year of growth, and I'm here for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And yeah, Christian, I mean, yeah, you have multiple facets of your business, right? So, um, well, speaking of which, I mean, that's sort of the topic for 2026. I don't know if you saw the Medicarians line up, but there's a lot of talk of cross-selling this year and ancillaries and how
Yeah.
to retain clients and what really is the future with all, sort of the rules come into place and sort of taking out the bad actors in the industry. I know we were talking a little bit off camera about this, but let's just touch upon some of the things that are happening with these call centers and what actual good business, what good business means in 2026 now, right? And I think the audience is really going to like the answer on this. So, Christian, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I would argue that it might not seem this way from the outside looking in, because I feel like it's very easy for the average single field agent to see something going on in the industry and think, oh, the sky is falling. The end is nigh, long term. I would argue, though, that 2026 is right now one of the best times to come in as a field agent. Because if you look back 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the carriers were really incentivizing production without quality. You see a lot of these really big call centers, like the ones that come to mind for me are Go Health, eHealth, Select Quote, these infamous call centers that were doing huge volumes and they're publicly traded companies, right? And they're doing huge volumes of business. But when you actually look at their retention rates, they were only keeping 20%, 25%, 30% of their policies, and they had these huge drop-offs. There's really like no focus of any kind on client retention, right? And like quality business. And they're bringing in people with this low intent, low hanging fruit marketing, right? With the grocery cards and the $5,000 in dental. And this was kind of in the peak of the celebrity based Medicare advertisements, right? That agents just screamed about. And if you fast forward it to today, the shift and the focus on the carrier side has changed completely, where the carriers are way more focused on quality business. They're focused on good retention rates. They're focused on low complaints. And they've even gone so far as to realize that a lot of these bigger along these bigger call centers, excuse me, are kind of the antithesis of that, you know? And like some bigger carriers, without mentioning too many by name, they have essentially reduced their number of call center contracts exponentially. I was talking with one of my bigger carrier partners with a very large national carrier. I don't want to say their name, but you know, they have cut down over double of their call center contracts in the last 12 months. Just terminated them because their quality of business that they were bringing forward wasn't matching kind of what they want to see. So if you look at the average field agent, their business model is 90% or better retention rate, less complaints, right? Quality business. And to your point, right? Like at Medicarians, there's a big emphasis, and there's a big emphasis right now in the industry in general on bundling and cross-selling, right? Protecting your client better, increasing those retention rates, all of things that you have been talking about to your credit for years and excelling at for years. And so you've been ahead of the curve in a way that most people weren't. Um, and now everybody's starting to catch up to Andrew Lee. Um, but like all of those things kind of go together to where like the new model of being successful and to being in good favor and being valuable to carriers is you're producing a good amount of business, but you're not doing it at the risk of reducing quality and bad retention rates and more complaints, right? Like, so quality is the word I would say for 2026. And that matches perfectly with the strengths of a field agent in a way that these big call centers, they can't match it. They just don't have the ability to do so because of the way they do business. And a lot of them are seeing their contracts terminate or they're pivoting out of Medicare altogether. And so it's a really good time to be a Medicare agent.
Yeah, sky's not falling, right? I mean, I in a seven-figure group, I always crack up when people are like, "What's going on with this with Carrier X?" And look at all these situations that are happening. I'm like, guys, like, there's a reason why we've been in this industry for a while is because we just know how to pivot. We don't freak out when something happens. We have a high risk tolerance. So for the new agents out there, if you see one inkling of a carrier saying that they're going to do something or CMS saying that they're going to do something, I would encourage you not to freak out, not to just say, "Hey, look, this is the end of my 1 year run, my 2 year run." I would just focus on what you can focus on, right? Pivoting, just again bringing on other products that you've never considered before, but are sort of like cousin sister products to what you're specializing in now, and of course with the cross-selling as well too, and the bundling, that's a huge aspect as well too. So yeah, no, again, right on the head, Christian. I mean, that's just really where the industry is going, especially in California. What I've noticed is, and with a lot of bundling, that comes with retention, by the way, right? So that helps out with retention, of course. If they have at least three products with you, they're most likely going to start just keep you as an agent for the rest of your essentially your life if you're in the senior market, right? So, I mean, there's data backing that up. And, just like how in the PNC world, right? If you have multiple products with one person, that's loyalty, right? It is just sort of what it is. So I understand where they're going with this because they want more retention and cleaner business. I do like the T65 side. That's definitely what I'm focused on. T65s are just really where it's at, especially in California. We have one of the highest commission rates in the US, especially for T65s. So that's definitely a big plus for new agents to really look into. But yeah, Christian, to your point, the community aspect, the local broker, not so much the call centers, the one call close places. That's really not a good retention model these days. So I'm glad you actually brought that up. What else is new for 2026? What do you see in terms of patterns in the industry for 2026 that people should know about?
Yeah, I think real quickly I wanted to say to your point, right? Like the numbers are just overwhelming in terms of the value that your client gets, but also you as an agent get when you bundle and you cross sell appropriately, right? You've done such an amazing job at kind of, really being a flag, waiver of that over the years. And, you know, I told this story recently and I tell it to my staff all the time because I think it's really powerful. You know, I remember it was last year, we bank with Chase for our company and we have a couple carriers that just won't stop sending us paper checks. If you're listening and you're a
I know.
carrier and you're sending us paper checks, please stop. Like there's a couple carriers we keep submitting requests to be direct deposited and they won't process it. We submit them like 25 times. Like anyway, once in a blue moon, I have to run to the bank and
Because these are big
submit some
checks.
checks for ESI.
These are
Yeah,
big
paper
checks,
checks.
right?
Like I can't, I can't, I can't get out of it. They're not always big checks. Sometimes there's like stupid little carriers we barely do anything with, like they're like $40.
But the
Um,
bigger ones, you
it's
have to
very
go
annoying.
directly to the bank. You can't just. I'm a little scared to
Yeah,
just do
yeah,
the
yeah.
direct deposit on my phone for a big amount of
Yeah, so
checks. I
yeah,
have to go directly in.
usually like we let them pile up for a while and there's some big ones in there for sure and then we we make one trip. But anyway, there's a receptionist there who I've seen a few times and so, she sees on our accounts, insurance and everything. And she's like, just making small talk. She's like, what type of insurance do you do? I'm like, oh, we do, health, life, Medicare primarily, under 65 health, et cetera, et cetera. She's like, oh, I was curious if you did P and C. And she starts going off into this story with me. And she's like, yeah, I have a PNC guy. He does my cars, my house, starts listing off all these various different pieces of property that are covered. And she's like, and I hate him. Like that, and I'm like, you hate him? I'm like, that's a strong word. That instantly gets my curiosity going. I start asking questions. I'm like, you hate him. And so, needless to say, where the conversation ended up going was I have this PNC guy, he has all these policies. I hate him, but she won't change because it's a pain in the butt and he covers everything.
Oh,
And I bring that up to agents listening to like, the goal should not be to get your clients to hate you. Like, I don't want to hear that from my clients necessarily. But the moral of the story is in this guy's case, even some of his clients do hate him and they still won't change because he bundled,
mm,
because it's too inconvenient. And that
mm.
was a very powerful, like real life situation to me, right? Like, um, but
Well,
to answer your question, right, like what else is going on in the industry, right? Like, I think something that people need to be paying attention to, and it might seem like chaos, but I believe that there's opportunity laced with it, um, is kind of what is going on with the Trump administration and everything they're trying to do on the health insurance side, right? Like it's been in the last couple days at the time of recording this video that CMS drops a proposal and everybody's talking about it right now to essentially, there's for several things in it, but the big headline is they're going to not increase the funding that Medicare Advantage companies get. This is just a proposal. It's not official yet, but that's the idea, right? Every year, historically, typically Medicare Advantage plans get an increase on their funding to match the ever increasing cost of covering healthcare. It makes sense, right? Like healthcare costs is the number one thing in America that has spiked in terms of how expensive that it is. There's nothing more that's gone up as much as the cost of healthcare. So premiums match, right? The cost to cover that care matches. Well, the CMS comes out under the direction, of course, of the Trump administration, saying that they're putting out a proposal that they're going to do not a smaller increase of funding, but 0% increase of funding, which what that would end up doing is that we'd have another disruptive. I mean, I think we're going to have this anyway, but we'd have a very disruptive AEP coming up, just like we did the past couple of years, and agents are freaking out about it, right? I would argue, though, that the last two AEPs have been the largest AEPs that we've ever had in terms of opportunity. More plans were canceled, record margin. Millions of people had their plans lost. They needed to shop. You know, there were people that had benefits cut all over the country. Their MOOPs went up, their dental vision hearing got reduced or slashed. For you as an agent, if you're trying to bundle and cross sell to kind of stay in line with what we've been talking about here, the more those benefits reduce, the more there is going to be a need for these ancillary products paired with these Medicare Advantage plans. Um, and so there's a lot of opportunity there if that ends up being the way that it goes. I'm not in favor of it by any means, but it might happen regardless of what I think or what Andrew thinks or what anybody thinks. But it doesn't mean that the sky is falling, to Andrew's point, right? Like you look in the Facebook groups, I saw somebody today, they're like, they're like, oh,
That's what I was referring to.
you yeah. To just several people today actually where they're like I guess we're not going to have any commissions anymore as soon as next year. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "You don't like where are you getting this from?" Like like if we're being practical about it, we'll see some reductions of benefits if that happens. We'll see some plan terminations, some SARs if it happens. And we're going to see disruption, but with disruption comes opportunity for the people that are looking for the opportunity. And I would also argue that there's a lot of people out there like that that are taking a chicken little mentality, so they're not going to be growing their business.
Yep,
When everyone else is not trying to grow their business, that's the easiest time for you to grow your business because you're
absolutely.
playing offense while everyone else is playing defense.
Yeah. And I know you've been a champion. I mean, you post about this all the time, and people who are just sort of freaking out. It's like, I mean, we've seen ups and downs in the Medicare industry. I think one of your posts that really, I was like, yeah, this is a good post, was about all the changes and sort of the patterns throughout the course of the year with Medicare Advantage and sup rates. I think it was your post, like just going back in the years of Medicare Advantage starting off and some of the ups and downs that have gone through, but here we still are one of those kind of posts. Um,
Yeah.
and those definitely, I mean, I like those posts because I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years. You've been doing this for about, yeah, like 12, 13 years as well too.
The same. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I mean, so we've seen our ups and downs. We started off in different sort of trajectories, but we've seen our ups and downs. It's still the health world. So I mean, again, the Trump administration first coming in, I thought Obamacare was going to go away, right? But then, of course, in the back of my head, I knew that you can't just abolish something that quickly. Then, the short-term market sort of re, calculators or whatever. They had more like a 3 month term limit to a 12 month. So that readjusted itself. We just saw with the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act, that all that's really affected our industry. But Christian, to your point, I mean, 2020 was a great year. I mean, I could just look back at my Medicare career. 2020 was a good year, one of my biggest years, and then so was this year, right? I think Winston Churchill said, "Don't let a good crisis go to waste," right?
Yeah.
So I don't
Absolutely.
think that the sky is falling, right? Just to give people more of an incentive to stay in this business, especially if you're saying that, you know, the carriers are favoring, and I know which specific one you're mentioning, um, are carrying are favoring more of the field agents, right? As much as organic marketing is, not predictable, and of course there's ways to do that. I mean, Christian, you had a big billboard in the back of in your backyard of yourself. Like there's other ways to advertise outside of just referrals. But then again, we're actually a shop that takes care of clients' retention. I've been also focusing a lot more on that instead of I never really had a churn and burn mentality, but after a while you sort of get into some habits and it's just as you grow, it does happen, right? So we're focusing more on retention, customer satisfaction, things like that. And I do like that the industry is going that way because the people that should be rewarded their commissions for helping out their clients are the actual people that should be rewarded as opposed to a turn and burn call center, right? So I do love that aspect of it. I want to talk about how agents can grow from, okay, you've already gone through year one, year two. I believe it's systems that are going to get you more organized and more, scalable, right? If you're looking to scale, the systems have to be really sharp, especially, if it's a land grab for T65s right now for a lot of people, just because that's really where the high quality business is. And once they're 65, yes, it's a lot of follow-ups and things like that, but if you have a good system with that, then it's a pretty profitable lane. Any insight on systems for 2026, Christian?
Yes. And I love the topic for sure because I really feel like there's few things that have benefited our agency as much as structure, and to your point, building out systems to develop that structure. I think systems are applicable in every part of your business if you want to do something really well. You need sales systems. You need a sales process and a sales system that's duplicatable. One thing I learned about myself over the years, and over the years, I believe we've been able to fine tune our sales system, and I think we do a good job of teaching it. But, when I first started working with agents, I think some of us are very naturally talented salespeople. Andrew, I would put you in that category. I think I'd put myself in that category. Your ability to articulate yourself, your charisma, your people skills, like you can just kind of if you're one of those people, and a lot of times high performing agents, especially independent ones, that isn't the case. Like there might be some things they do over and over and over again, but to an extent, they can kind of roll out of bed and close a deal. But it's not something that's very easily duplicatable, right? Or taught to somebody else. And anytime you want to get into a place where you want to grow your business, it might not be, if you're in year two, you might not be quite there yet, but eventually down the road, the um, more of groundwork and infrastructure you can have laid that somebody can come in and run with and learn steps and duplicate, the easier it is. Now, if you're just running off of sales ability, um, like I was back in the day, right? Like it's tougher to duplicate that. And so developing an actual sales system is, in my opinion, pivotal because it allows what you're doing to be copied and duplicated instead of just the buck stopping with you. Like it's almost like, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but it's like Michael Jordan thriving on his talent, but Michael Jordan was never really known as like a great teacher or a great coach or a great, selector of talent, right? Like that's the analogy that I use. So like the better you can develop a system for a sales system, the easier it is to bring in other salespeople and duplicate and scale your process. And that's what scale is all about, right? How duplicatable is what you're doing. Um, and something might be effective, but it might not be duplicatable. And then marketing as well, right? You have certain systems that you lay out in terms of your marketing and bringing in your lead flow. Um, there's a great book that I read. We'd already kind of started been doing this, but a couple of years ago, I read for the first time the E Myth. If anybody hasn't read that book, it's a really good book. Um, and we were already kind of developing systems, but it helped me, in my opinion, grasp it from a simplistic standpoint. And it's all about systems, processes, organization, structure, and even in your retention, right? Like anything that you might hire somebody in your business, how easy is it to bring them in and plug them in, right? Do you have standard operating procedures that are documented? Are they organized? Are they easily found for somebody? Do you have like a template that you can plug somebody into? And in my opinion, I think this goes in all areas of your business, marketing, customer service, retention, sales, everything. And so we've been really, really focused on that over the past couple of years in terms of building out our systems in every area of our business. And it's bared a lot of fruit. It's much easier for us these days to bring in a new person in our business and plug them in, or your first person and your second person. It feels like a huge undertaking because you have to train them all yourself. You train them from scratch. They have to shadow you. You have to find things for them to do. And it can feel in a way like this person's supposed to save me time, but they're creating more time, more work for me to do, to find things for them to do. That's because there's not a system in place that you can plug them into. And we've learned that over the years. At the summit this year, I haven't announced it yet, but I'll give a little teaser on Andrew's channel. We're having our chief operations officer speak at the summit this year, Becky. She has
Oh,
been she's been pivotal at developing the structure of our systems and keeping things organized because for a lot of us that are like really good, strong salespeople, that doesn't come necessarily natural to you, and it doesn't to me. um, so I think having somebody on your team that's really good at that can really be a big thing long term. But no, like to your point, I think the systems and developing something that is easy to follow, step by step. It makes it easier for you to duplicate what you're doing if you're doing something really well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the three letters for me this year that I'm focusing on is SOP, right? To your point, and that's definitely something that needs to tighten up, and I'm working towards that, and that's definitely a must. It's definitely a must this year. So completely agree, and that's hey, congrats to Becky. Didn't know that. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and so, I mean, yeah, so that's good and all for agents that are trying to scale, but for our new agents, what are some of the benefits of working with us, right? Well, one, you get Christian as a mentor, right? You also get me as a mentor in California. So, I
Yes.
mean, again, yeah, I'm a salesperson through and through. Of course, with marketing, we have our California Insurance Agents Conference. We have our group as well too. Christian has his respective group, the seven-figure Medicare agent group, and also the conference, which has been going strong for years. One of the forefront in terms of the conference circuit out there. Um, so of course you get that information, but of course, what else do you get, right? Again, sales mastery. That's also something I've been really coaching a lot of people on this year just because I want to share what I know. I've been not to say I've been um, just sort of holding it in and just not sharing it with people. This year, I really want to do that, and I've had the opportunity to do that. And again, with hires and new agents, of course, we've had people make six figures, Christian's agency seven figures in their own respective business, right? It's very, very doable with the plug and play system and with mentorship, obviously, right? Of course, if you're in a newer position, you just sort of don't know where to go and you needed more of a structure in terms of how you're supposed to see this business. And from people that's been doing it for over a decade, of course, we have the knowledge on that. Um, this year, my biggest thing is again systems, like we were talking about. And of course, one day I will share my systems, but to my internal agents and also those that are downline agents as well too, they will get access to that as well too. But Christian, what are we doing this year for 2026 for new agents that you're excited to share?
Yeah, I think if you're in California, partnering with Andrew is, in my opinion, one of the greatest package value propositions that you can possibly get, right? To everything Andrew said, I think having the tutelage of an experienced person in the industry that's been a top producer, written a lot of business, um, on the ground there to help you, knows the market. California is a very unique market, to where like you could get a training that is applicable nationally, and it might be totally irrelevant in California. That's pretty common, right? So like having a good mentor on the ground, I think is as important in California as any other state, for sure. And Andrew brings a ton of value to that table. But then of course you have us behind him and providing our structure and our resources and our infrastructure as well. I kind of feel like there's three big pillars for support that agents should expect from their uplines or their FMOs. And to me, that is training and mentorship, access to technology tools, and access to leads. And I think if you can get all three of those, it's a really valuable proposition. And we've built what I would call a platform, that all of Andrew's agents get access to by partnering with us. And, our platform, when you take those three pillars and kind of dissect them a little bit, training and mentorship, you get a ton of that from Andrew, but you also get a lot of that behind the scenes from us as well, right? So, we have Seven Figure University, which is our online robust training platform that's growing all the time. We're updating all the time. This month, I've created 25 new videos to replace old videos um, in it for. We do weekly trainings on Thursdays. We put them up in the university. It's all on at your fingertips. It's on demand. It's A to Z how to grow an agency. It's sales training, it's marketing training, Facebook ads, seminars, branding, automation. It's very high level business information. Um, so you between what Andrew's bringing to the table on training and what we're bringing to the table, it's hard to ask for much more with that. That's number one. Number two, um, access to technology tools. We provide all of our agents with our Go High Level white label seven-figure CRM, which we've done a lot of work on in the past couple of months. We actually brought in a developer to come in behind the scenes and change the Go High Level code to put in a lot of new aspects to it that Go High Level doesn't natively come with. But all of our agents get free access to that. It comes with pre-built automations, landing pages, websites, templates, all kinds of things like that. And we have a support team behind the scenes to help you with it. So, that's great. Of course, we're an integrity partner. So all of our agents get access to Integrity Connect, which is Integrity's quoting and enrollment tool, has Sunfire included, Connecture, CSG Actuarial, a bunch of stuff there. And then the third one in leads, we own Lead Heroes. Lead Heroes did 90,000 leads generated 2025. Um, it's a monster. I can't describe it any other way. It can spit out leads at volume in a way I've never seen in my life before. Like we'll bring in an agent in our office and a new agent in LOA, and maybe we need leads. We can spit out 100 leads like that. Like for them, it's just like nothing. Um, and Lead Heroes does a bunch of different lead types. We do callback leads, pre-scheduled appointments, custom calling, where a caller will call for you and customized. All of our agents get 50% off any Lead Heroes service in terms of the retail value. Um, so, like our preset appointments, as an example, right? A lot of times over the phone, they can be in the 80s, 85, $90 a pop, depending on the volume and things like that. So let's say it's 90. With your internal agent discount, you can get it for 45, which on all of those orders, we're either breaking even or losing money, depending on where somebody's at. So we eat kind of the cost on that. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, there's agents all around the country that pay the full pricing for all of the Lead Hero services, but you as an agent partnered with us and with Andrew, you get 50% off anything that is there.
That's dope.
Um, so I feel like you know, we've really done a good job of building, I think, a platform that agents can tap into. They have all types of resources at their disposal and they can utilize them as needed. And there's just a lot of value there. So, yeah, I don't know of a better value proposition you can get from top to bottom than what Andrew brings to the table with us behind the scenes backing him.
Yeah, I mean, even with lead heroes, right? I mean, I've had this question all the time. Where do I get started, right? It's like, oh, okay, they don't have a system yet. They're getting started, and the grassroots are sort of crickets. Then, of course, you got to call leads, right? Everything works a little bit. Like in the industry, we always say that. But yeah, with lead heroes, of course, if you're just getting started, T65s or just any preset appointment leads, that's how you can get started and you cultivate your own social garden in terms of what you've cultivated with that client, build a referral pool, go on from there, and all of a sudden, boom, you have a business, right? You start off from zero, go to 1,500 a month if you're just starting off and just sort of being one foot in, one foot out, and then you realize, okay, there's money in this industry, and then you start going all in and you decide, okay, I'm in telesales, now I want to do some foot traffic or some local outreach because now I'm 100% in. I see a lot of agents that are one foot in, one foot out, or have another job, and no knock to them because it is just what it is. You have to eat, right? But again,
Hmm.
if you burn all ships and you have all this at your disposal, right? You burn all ships and you can generate your own business in terms of you not having to do too much marketing. That's on the lead hero side. And then from there, you can build out your own systems, right? But you'll start getting there in a year or so, year and a half. And then it just starts clicking and then rolling. So, yeah, definitely would start off doing that. Um, let's go into, I mean, we've been chatting about this. Let's go into okay, just a random topic that we just had to address because some of the rankings on ESPN I sort of have a little bit of beef with. We're gonna go over top 10 NBA players of all time. And Christian, I want your perspective on this because we're both hoop heads, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, ball is life, right? Ball is life. And I was just going over some of these the top 10 list and some of them are controversial. I want to get into this, Christian. Give me, and if you have a list pulled up there on your end, give me your top 10. I'll see if I agree with you. but
Hmm.
also let's see if we both agree with ESPN's top 10 NBA player list of all time.
Yeah, so this is something I think about often.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so I I have a list that I kind of have up here, that and it changes a little bit. My perspective changes a little bit, but my top 10 list would probably go as follows. And I'm going to start at 1 and go to 10.
You know if this off the top of your head?
I do. I do. I think about this a lot, Andrew. Okay, this is important, okay?
All right, all right, all right. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, so MJ's my number one. There's there's no, for me, it's just, I don't see how anybody else goes number one other than number 23, okay? N- I have LeBron at number two. All-time records across the board. He's going to end up with almost all the records. A lot of records, not all, but um so I have LeBron number two. I have Kareem number three.
Ouch. Okay.
Um I have Magic Johnson number four.
Ouch. Okay, someone's missing, but it's all good. Okay, go ahead.
I have Kobe Bryant number five. I have Tim Duncan number six. I have Shaq number seven. I have Steph Curry number eight, Larry Bird number nine, and probably Wilt Chamberlain number 10.
Will.
I debated between Wilt and Hakeem, but Wilt's got all the crazy record statistics and everything like that. So that's my 10.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this, because I sort of agree with some of the, others. How is Kobe not in the top three?
Okay, here's my argument for this, okay?
Yeah. And I've seen it all. I've
So
seen all the episodes.
anytime, so first off, before I say anything, before I upset anybody in California, okay, because I might by what
Well,
I'm gonna say
Kareem's
here.
there. I'm just saying, why not Kobe?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so all of these guys are all-time incredible talents and amazing players, right?
Yeah.
But when you're ranking top 10, you have to get you have to go into the weeds in terms of like criticisms to put someone over someone else, and you have to get a little hyper specific with that, okay? So here's why Kobe's not higher for me. Fair or unfair, I think anybody above him never played with someone like Shaq for his first three rings. I feel like Kenny Smith says it really well. Kobe had the luxury of not being double teamed. He was like the greatest one-on-one player at the time that wasn't double teamed. And Kobe also, fair or unfair, didn't have the opportunities early on. He came off the bench his first couple years, right? So his first couple years, statistically, like you compare his first couple years to a LeBron, that's not a perfect comparison because LeBron came onto a bad team. He was their best option. He's going to get to Chuck. But like, year two, LeBron's averaging like 25 a game, and Kobe is averaging like 15 a game, you know. Similar ages, they both came out of
Look
high
at that. He's
school.
the number one draft pick coming in.
I know.
And he was
I
touted
know.
as the
I know.
king before coming in.
I know. I know it. I also feel like LeBron and Kareem win the longevity argument
Yeah.
over Kobe.
Yeah.
So I think like your ranking, you have to look to me at like the totality of someone's career. Some people will do ranking based on like peak. Like
Or
if you took the
rings.
best version, yeah, or rings, or like take the best version of this person versus the best version of that person who wins. I think that's a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
Like you probably put Shaq at number one if you're talking peak. Like you took 1 year of the best version of Shaq that there ever was. That's a tough. That's a tough out. Um, but so to me, that's what I look at with Kobe. I love Kobe. Kobe's my favorite player growing up by far.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I agree with most of your list. I agree with most of it. MJ number one, of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's the GOAT, 6 rings, and I'm gonna base off of rings, not like a Robert Ory kind of. Oh, like yeah, well, he
Yeah.
had seven. No, I'm gonna base this off of you're the man on the team and you had rings. And I mean, we can get into the culture talk. Some people will say, okay, like redefining a culture. Like some people will have Julius Erving on their top 10, right? Some people
Hmm.
will have, I mean, Steph Curry is another good one, right? Allen Iverson on their top 10, even though he shouldn't belong there, right?
Yeah, yeah, which is
The,
crazy.
the culture talk, or the culture shakers, right? Um,
Yes.
Kobe had it all, right? Okay, so MJ, culture shaker, right? In the 90s, he defined the 90s, right? He defined
Hmm.
after he got over that slump of the bad boys in the Piston era in those 3 years. After that, that was sort of his coming out moment, and he became MJ. And then, of course, he could have had seven during his White Sox days. But then again, it added to his lore. So I understand in terms of that, yes, the culture, how he how he played, right? His play style was electric, right? He can dunk, he had signature moves. If everybody has a one move that is unguardable or a signature move, of course you belong on this list. Like Kareem belonged on that list, MJ belongs on this list with the fadeaway. Um, and yeah, so I put MJ at number one because he has the three peats, even though the arguably these this is LeBron people arguably the like the Mark Prices and the Gary Paytons and the John Stocktons. It's like was it
Yeah.
really that tough of an era? So that's why I mean I've never been a LeBron fan, but as of recently, now that he's sort of aging out, I really see his greatness, right? So that again, a LeBron
Hmm.
fan would argue that, right? But
Certainly.
let me bring it to this, and I'm bringing that point up because Kobe is better than LeBron. It's 1A, or it's 2A, 2B right now for me, right? If LeBron wins one more, he's better than Kobe. I will give you that. Now, why is Kobe above Kareem, right? And this is okay. It might be a little bit biased, but I mean, Kareem again in the 70s, who is he playing against? I mean, he's a freak of nature, right?
For sure.
He's a
For
freak
sure.
of nature. And he had the skyhook, and it's unguardable. Yeah, awesome. We get that. But also, who did he play with? Another top five?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so here's my
And where's
thought on
Shaq
that
in
one
the
because
list?
I was waiting for that to come out. I was waiting for that to come out. Okay. So there's
Yep.
a parallel there for sure. Because Kareem played with Magic, Kobe played with Shaq. Two, both all four players are top 10 all time, right? So like to me, this is what I look at. Kareem has one more ring than Kobe. I kind of penalize them equally for playing with who
I
they
I
played
have to
with.
disagree. I'm gonna let you go though.
Kareem has one more ring than Kobe, and Kareem has um, more all-time statistics. He has more career points. He has more longevity. He wins the longevity argument versus Kobe.
Yeah.
That's my argument for Kareem.
Yep.
I think Kareem has become almost in a way like underrated, as crazy as it is to say.
Yeah. No, I can see that. But again, Kareem did have magic. I mean, magic is magic. James Worthy, another perennial All-Star, Hall of Famer. Byron Scott, All-Star, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that whole coup, that whole team was the Showtime, right? The 80s, right?
Stacked.
They were
Yeah.
stacked. I mean that's it's a star-studded team, right? Kobe. All right,
Fair.
let's go back to Kobe, right? Why is he at number two? Because he's not MJ, because he copied MJ, right? He's number two A. Again, LeBron is right there. If he just does something, or I mean, LeBron's already done enough. I get it, right? LeBron's done enough, but again, he doesn't have enough rings as Kobe, and I get that Shaq was a big part of that, right? But then again, people always assume that Shaq carried Kobe, right? I get the double team
No,
argument.
and I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all.
No, when
I
Shaq
think they
was
were
out,
equally as important. I would maybe give just a slight edge to Shaq in terms of who is the best player on the team, but it's slight. Like
yeah,
people like to say like Kobe was like a Pippen, and that is totally not the case whatsoever.
no,
Like,
it wasn't even Batman and Robin. It was Batman and Batman Part Two. Like it was like,
yeah, yeah.
like,
I 100% agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Like there were years where Kobe led the team in scoring throughout the whole playoffs, and Shaq still got Finals MVP. But Shaq's Finals numbers were out of this world; like they were unbelievable. But no, I couldn't agree more with you. I couldn't agree more with you on that part of it. I don't think it's fair to say that Kobe was carried like a lot of people like to say, and that's no way, no way.
No.
Shaq didn't win until the Kobe.
No, exactly, right? So it goes both ways, but here's the kicker, okay, with Kobe. So he, again, he wasn't number one, drafted what from Charlotte. He was not number one. Jerry West said, "Okay, I'm gonna go get him." And for Vlade Divac, right? That was his value coming into the league.
Yeah,
He got him for Vlade
yeah,
Divac, right?
Lottie.
So he was not. He just had a lot to prove, right? He came in as a scrawny kid, bulked up. I mean, everybody bulks up in the NBA, right? Kevin Durant, and what have you. You bulk up, right? But you come into the league with a chip on your shoulder. Shaq had everything coming in, right? He had the LSU background. He was the man, number one pick, all of that. LeBron had all of. He was Cleveland savior, right? He sort of had that MJ kind of mystique to him coming in. Like, not, I mean, not mystique, but that sort of that he had to work for it, right? So, in that sense, yes. Okay, so Kobe had to work for it, and he did. He won 3 rings, and he was a crucial part of that. Now, let's talk about '09 and 10. Okay. Who
Yes,
was on that
yes.
team? Let's compare that team to any other teams that you just mentioned. Anybody on this list except for, let's call it, I mean, Tim Duncan even had 3 All-Stars on his team, besides Will
Yeah, yeah.
Chamberlain. Okay. That '09 team had Trevor Ariza, had Derek Fisher, had Pau Gasol, had
Hall of Famer Pau Gasol. But
that's okay, a credit to Pau Gasol, a Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer.
look, okay, so I think this
Who
is a
else was on
very
that
good point.
team?
I think this is a very good point. That team was probably the least talented team to win a ring outside of like the 11 Mavs. And I think the 11 Mavs had more talent, probably, honestly. But like that team had Andrew Bynum, who
Who? Now, like, I mean, the kids don't know who Andrew Bynum is.
at one point Shaq was going on national TV and saying that Andrew Bynum was better than Dwight Howard. Like
Hey,
let's not
one year
forget who
he
Andrew
was
Bynum was.
2011. 2011. It was Dwight Howard right after they won a championship when he clipped JJ Barea
Yeah,
when the
yeah.
Mavericks won. He arguably was better
He
than
was
Dwight
very
then.
good. He was very good. Andrew Bynum is forgotten in history because his career ended so early, in my
Weird.
opinion. But
Yeah.
Andrew Bynum was a really good player. Lamar Odom, sixth man of the year, one of those years.
Yeah.
I can't remember
All,
which one.
exactly. You can't remember any of this, right? Because all that to say this, right? All that to say this, Kobe did not have. I mean, you could say the league was in a sort of a weird position that year, but you had Steve Nash, you had Dallas, you had the Celtics, you had Dwayne Wade on Miami, you had the Spurs, you had all of these people. I mean, these are still historic teams at the end of the day,
For sure.
and he made that happen. Okay, how easy is it to repeat? Okay, by yourself essentially. Okay, he had Pau Gasol. I get that. He had Pau Gasol. What was Pau Gasol known for? You don't even know what his signature move is, right? He
Pau,
doesn't.
Pau
He had an
Gasol
elbow.
was first round out in Memphis
It,
every
thank you.
year.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So, what defines Kobe's legacy is '09 and 10, and especially those MVP years in between. I know that he was just ball hogging. I get 2005 and all people don't even remember that team, right? The Radmanoviches and the
Yeah,
weird people on
I think it
Ronnie
I think it
Kurioff.
I think they missed the playoffs that year. Like
Right.
that's my biggest problem with Kobe to me
Yeah.
is if you're the second best player of all time,
Yeah.
I should be able to put you out there with a bunch of me's and you
Okay.
still make the playoffs every
Okay.
year at least.
Okay. Well, at '06. Right? When he was playing against Steve Nash, yeah, they went to the playoffs, right? Now, who did
Yes.
LeBron have? I mean, I get it. He went to the finals in '07 by himself, essentially, right? I get that.
Hmm.
And that's impressive. So did Dwight Howard, right? So did
Yes.
all of these people that aren't on this list right now, right?
I think Dwight's team was a lot better than LeBron's
And
that
he
went to
had
the
a
finals.
stacked team around him. Michael Petras, he had was it
Rashard Lewis.
Peja? Yeah, Jameer Nelson. He had a
Vito
stacked team of all
Turkoglu.
shooters. It's Turkaloo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah,
That was
Turkaloo, my
that
bad.
was that was a good team. A lot of people forget how good that team was. That year they went to the finals. I'm pretty sure Rashard Lewis made the All-Star team. Dwight definitely did. I think Jameer Nelson made the All-Star team as one and only
Yeah,
that year. So they
exactly.
had three All-Stars. LeBron's trip to the finals was like literally with like me and like a bunch of me's. And
Well, I would say even 2016, right? Or 20 against the Warriors, 2015. Yeah, he went with uh, what's his name? Deladova, right? It was just Deladova.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
get that LeBron had to earn his championships more than Kobe, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Kobe, he repeated with people we don't even like kids these generations won't even know who they are, right? At the
Sasha
very least.
Vujacic.
Yeah, Sasha Vujacic. Yeah, who? You know what I mean? So again, Kobe number two, LeBron three, just because he has the edge on rings, just because also he was the Lakers. Magic Johnson even admits he was the greatest Laker of all time, right? So that's again, this is up for debate, but that's what I'm doing. I'm debating. Le
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got Kobe at two. LeBron really earned it. I mean, he could even be the greatest just depending on his longevity. I mean, he can go as far as he needs to go. And I
I
really like LeBron now. I've always been a hater. I like LeBron now, not just because I'm a Laker fan, but just because of his body of work, consistency. He right now his numbers look like how it was in Miami, if you
it's
really want to
crazy.
look at it. Isn't that
It's
crazy?
crazy. And
So, yeah.
when people make the argument that LeBron has won, I don't get mad at them. I don't agree, but I'm
Yeah,
not
I don't
mad
get
at
mad
them.
either. I used to.
Because I think like the LeBron case is sustained greatness,
Yeah.
basically from day one, the most
Yep.
hyped athlete of all time, and not only lived up to the hype, probably over exceeded the hype.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's never been in trouble. He's never had a scandal.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
kind
that's
of remarkable if
I
you
mean,
think
who
about it.
has a
Like,
scandal these days except for John Morant? Like, the Giannis's, the Doncic's, like they keep their nose clean, right? The Jokic's, right? They keep their
yeah.
nose clean, right? It's just that's a given. You must like that's not that hard to not do.
But
Like
but I
it's
but no, but I think if you go down that list of top tens, there's a lot of scandals. Kobe had a scandal.
yeah.
Jordan had his Atlantic City thing
Yep.
in his gambling stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I don't know if Kareem. I don't think you could call Kareem a scandal, but Kareem was a very
Yeah. I mean, you can't
divisive
call HIV a
figure for
scandal
his
either.
time. But I don't know, like
Magic's HIV is not a scandal, That's not
but
the diagnosis.
the process of getting it was the scandal.
I got you. Yeah. Dude, the
The
Forum Club was
cheerleaders and
crazy.
whatever else was going on.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, so yeah, one MJ, I agree with your list for the most part. One MJ, two Kobe, three LeBron.
Okay.
Okay, I like Kareem at the four, just because again, longevity,
Okay.
he's been around for a while. Um, Magic, I mean, Magic, yeah, I'll take him at the five. Yeah, I'll take Magic at five. So we're basically just switching. Yeah. Um, I'll
Yeah.
go
Yeah. Very
Timmy.
similar. Very similar order.
Yeah, I'll go Timmy at six. I'll go Shaq seven, actually. Yeah, you're right on that.
Mm,
Curry is better than Bird in terms of, I mean, I hate to say that. Bird is awesome. But Steph is
yeah.
wild. Steph is just Steph.
He's a bad
So
boy.
he's a bad boy. I'll put Steph. I will put, yeah, Bird. I mean, this is a good list. Nine
Yeah.
Bird, and then yeah, Wilt at 10. I don't hate that. Who else? I mean, Wilt has what? He has two chips or one chip?
Yeah. Two chips.
Two
Two
chips.
chips. So
So
Wilt is lacking on the chips. I think if Wilt had more
yeah,
like five or six, I
yeah,
think you'd have to be higher. But
yeah,
the two chips is tough.
yeah. Now okay, so now let's go on ESP. Let's go against ESPN here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bill
Let's hear
Russell's on the list.
ESPN's.
Bill Russell's on the list, and Bill
Yeah.
Russell is listed at number Oh, let's see. Bo Russ. Number four. Why is he not on your list? And I'll tell you why he's not on mine.
Okay, so I imagine I'm guessing we're gonna have the same answer to this
Yeah.
or a
Yep.
similar answer.
Yep.
So here's why for me. Bill Russell, defensive presence, right? There's been other defensive presences that led to championships in the history of the league, like Ben Wallace. Should Ben Wallace be in top 10 player of all? I mean, he didn't win 11 chips. I get that. But like what Bill Russell brought to the game is defense, leadership, that type of thing. But he was playing with like six Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? He averaged like 14 a game for his career. He shot 44% from the field as a center. So you can't make layups. My man can't make dunks and layups, and he's taller than everybody in the 60s. Like, I have a hard time with that. Um, I think most people give the credit to Bill because of like the way that he helped pioneer things in the civil rights era. And I respect him for that. I think that's great. But we're talking about basketball players, not like historically great outspoken people. You know what I mean? Like, there a video came out of Malcolm X, draining a free throw. I'm not putting him in my top 10 because of everything he did as a civil rights leader.
Obama.
Yeah,
Obama can
Obama,
do.
like I'm not doing it. Um, so if we're talking basketball players, I think Bill would probably show up in my top 20, but I'm not putting him in my top 10 because you play one side of the ball. You had the most stacked team ever. There
Yeah.
was less competition, less teams, less everything. So that's my argument.
I mean, yeah, no, that and again, he was playing against plumbers. Like, let's be real. He was playing against
For
plumbers.
real.
He had John Havlicek. He had Bob Cousy, who should be is on people's top 20, or I mean, I don't know.
Hmm.
For the most part, I know people in Boston say that. Um, but I mean, Bob Cousy was the man. He was the Luka Doncic back then. He was Pete Maravich before Pete Maravich, right? He had those crazy
Yes.
passes. You have him dishing you the rock every single play. Of course, you got to be. Yeah. That's why I have Wilt on instead of Russell in there because Wilt was a beast, right? And I get that. I think you couldn't dunk during that time as well either. You couldn't touch the rim. You had to just sort of float it in.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Um,
right. I think you're
After
right.
the
There
ABA
was something weird
merger,
like that.
yeah, then they started doing more of that, and then that's how Julius Erving got popular because he was dunking the ball. But at the same time, it's not. I mean, like it's still right there. Also, yeah, at the end of the day, my number one argument is he had a stacked team for the time, and he was playing against plumbers. So that's my
Yeah,
take on that. That's why he's not on the
I think
list.
that's fair. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
So anybody that wants to argue with us, please comment below, and more than we'll take time out of our day to to make sure that we're gonna address
Absolutely.
all of your guys, your actual your opinions. We'll respect it, but I think this is a pretty respectable list. I just had to make the point for Kobe again. You could tell I'm a Laker fan, but
And
again,
and I
there's
respect it. And I
yeah,
respect it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I'm not mad at it whatsoever. And I even enjoy hearing the argument for it because I love Kobe.
yeah,
Kobe, like when I was growing up, when I was in high school, Kobe was my favorite basketball player.
yeah,
Like I loved Kobe Bryant. So I'm not mad at it.
yeah. Yeah, guys. All right. Well, here's your 24 and moment of silence for him. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys like this content, I know we went a little off the rails there, but we had to. We had to. Nobody is talking about this, right? So if you like the initial content and also the basketball chat at the end, just comment below. You can argue with us. We don't mind. And happy to give you my point of view on that. Happy to give you my point of view again on what's happening with Medicare and health sales this year and how to grow your business. Christian's, of course, going to do that as well too. Christian, love having you on. That was really fun, and I'll catch you at the
Yeah.
next one.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me. Always a good
Yep,
time.
yep, yep. See you guys.